Hello everyone, my name is Shah and welcome to Village Core, where we live our mission, connect, share, and learn. So we're here to build intergenerational connections for mutual learning with entrepreneurs and young tech minds, join forces with seniors with wisdom and skills. So today is all about Uplift, and we're privileged to have Craig here. He's the president and the CEO of Uplift joining us. So we can't wait to learn from him about Uplift. And I'll give the floor over to you, Craig.
Thank you, Chuck, so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. Yasmin, you as well, and all of those attending. It's an honor to be here and to share a little bit about the Uplift story. Um, just real quick, as a mission for Uplift and who we are on a mission to help restore independence for folks with limited mobility and best protect caregivers, loved ones, and those who take care of individuals who may have limited mobility. It's surprising to many when I say this, but there are currently over 23 million people in the United States that cannot get out of a bed or a chair independently. And the technology that we're going to give you a demonstration of today, one of our configurations, will allow you to see how we're making it possible to achieve the mission that I said, which is restoring independence and making it easier for healthcare providers and healthcare workers in what is termed bedside patient transfer. Chuck, a little bit about how we got here with our technology and our company. Just as it relates to myself and most everyone in our business, and people that work with our company, we have in somehow or some way been affected with a family member or loved one who lost their mobility and was either unable to get out of bed themselves. In my case, both of my grandparents unfortunately passed away within the first 90 days of their first fall out of bed. Our technical founder invented Uplift because his dear friend was in a car accident and was paralyzed from waist down, and his wife could not lift his friend out of bed. And our founder, Anton, who he's our late founder, he passed away early last year. He was a genius in many ways, a rocket scientist, literally, a triple degree engineer from MIT and a 35-year aerospace engineer. And so the first Uplift prototype was built in his garage in 2016 when our company was founded. And fast forward to about 10 prototypes and hundreds of usability studies. And of course, the good fortune of getting through all of our FDA requirements, we were able to bring to market this novel technology, which we term as, and what we're aware to be, the only independent seated bedside transfer system that exists in the world. And so I'm sure we can go through some discussion on it after the demonstration, but we are actively selling product for the benefit of individuals with limited mobility who may be seniors. It could be folks, some of our customers include those with multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, even ALS, spinal cord injuries. We have several customers with spinal cord injuries who would not otherwise be able to get out of bed on their own and can now with Uplift. And so we're also working to serve, the market where individuals may have obesity challenges, which is a burgeoning portion, not just of the population in the U.S., but also around the world. And so the uses are many, the benefits are many, but we are commercializing in home health. We are also in senior living as well as a hospital system. And I'm currently here today giving this demonstration at our manufacturing facility, where I'm happy to say we have more product flying out the door because our wait list, just to be frank, we have not been able to catch up on it really since we hit the market. We're working as fast as we can to do so. So I'll just stop right there, Chuck, and I'm happy to answer any preliminary questions or go over any topics before we do a demonstration.
think we go with the demonstration. I think we are
Let's do
anxious
it.
to see it.
Yes.
Okay. Give me 1 second here because I am going to get one of my colleagues. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we have two examples, Yasmin and Shok. What I'm going to show you right now is the configuration where a spouse, a loved one, can transfer individual with zero physical exertion in just about a couple minutes. And again, the main draw for that is not just ease of use in a home environment, but we have a huge workers' compensation issue in the U.S. healthcare system. The leading driver of workers' compensation claims in the U.S. healthcare system are actually due to neck and back injuries, specifically from physically lifting patients or using what we term as archaic technology. So the configuration I'm going to show you here live is that. And then when we're done with that, I can do a share screen on the video of the independent transfer system. So 1 second here, I'm going to go off screen and get us situated, okay?
Everyone, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat box and we will try to have Craig answer as many questions as possible.
All right, we're almost set up here, Yasmin. It's like the big reveal, right?
Yes. I am so excited, having been exposed to senior living and personally with my mom, how difficult it was to get her out of bed. And even when she was in coma, just to kind of move her and change the sheets and all of that type of stuff was pretty darn difficult. So really excited to see this.
Okay. Do you see a good view there? Okay, so you may not see the head. That's Michael. Where I'm just going to say Michael. He's one of our managers here at the manufacturing facility. So he's the lucky test subject today. But what you see here in the picture, you'll notice this is a portable hoist. Many in the field may be familiar with Hoyer. Hoyer is known kind of like Kleenex or Xerox as the transfer hoist, but generally from up here is where a cloth sling is generally residing. And for those that have transferred loved ones, that cloth sling many times requires at least 10 minutes of preparation. You got to lay the cloth sling down, and the individual has to be rolled over to a side. And it's a really cumbersome, like I said, more archaic process that still requires a lot of physical exertion. But using this portable hoist, we're going to show you here UpLyft, which is everything from here on down that will be used for me to transfer him. Now, in the video and for independent transfer, UpLyft is attached to an overhead gantry, which either has posts next to the bed and is overhead, or it can be installed by any array of contractors that we engage with for a ceiling track hoist that can be less, takes up less space in the room. And anyone, for example, if you've seen a stair lift or had experience with the stair lift in a home, any contractor or dealer that installs those is generally experienced to be able to install an UpLyft. And we are actively certifying dealers around the country to do this, no matter where you may be residing. And so with that, I'm going to start the transfer process here with Michael. Michael's already moved up in the wheelchair, and I'm going to try to make sure my body is not in front of the screen here as much. And I actually may go on this other side here so you can see how this works. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to stop talking and start transferring. So you could do the timing here, Yasmin, if you want. And obviously, I've been trained on how to use this. Mike, you can put your hands right here. And all I'm doing here in operating the UpLyft is opening and closing the panels around his legs and his back, just like so. And just that quickly, I have completely closed the panels around Michael. And there are safety measures in here. There's some red dots, which I can maybe go over after, that indicate that he is completely secure in the device. And you can see here that the wheelchair, you can move it away, or even if it is parked in place, the individual is able to easily transfer out of the wheelchair. And I'm simply here moving the UpLyft out of the way so that he can transfer to the bed. At most, you'll see here just a little leg grab up onto the bed. And this is a low cot here, so that was even a little more than generally is necessary. And the buttons I'm using here on both sides, they exist on both sides of the UpLyft, so it can be used on either side of the bed. And now Michael is sitting on the bed. His weight is completely on the bed. And we go with the sit back feature just like this. Now, I don't have it on the UpLyft today, but there is a headrest that is optional for anyone that may want that extra neck support. And Michael is completely laying down now, and we are going to open the panels. A lot of questions may be asked, well, how are these panels open and how do they close so easily like that? Well, I can tell you that a lot of that has to do with the intellectual property of the device. And we have 16 issued patents that allow us to do so. I'm now going to raise the hoist up because everything is completely open.
Greg, you said 2 minutes, and you are right at 2 minutes, even with all the
Even with all my talking.
bonus you were for educating us. So this was pretty fast, and it looks pretty sturdy.
Yeah, and I'm going to allow Michael to get up now.
Thank you,
I'll
Michael.
They said thank you. And so I'm just going to move up real quick so people can see. But these are the control panels right here that an individual can use to independently transfer. So when you see the video, I'm going to move it a little bit closer. We are simply being able to, on the left side here where it says hoist, you can move it up, you can move it down. And when you have the cross beam with it for independent transfer, you can obviously move yourself left or right. The buttons here are simply closing these finger panels of the UpLyft. And then again, you can open them as well. And then you saw the sit up. This is the sit up function where you saw Michael doing it. And those buttons that I was using on the outside, it's the same ones. They're redundant here on the outside. So it's very easy to use for the caregiver on both sides. And so, you know, we live in an era as well of a nurse staffing shortage. And so many lifting teams in senior living facilities or hospitals can require 2 or 3 nurses to be present. And obviously with UpLyft, you only need 1. So, but yeah, Yasmin or Shak, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, so it looks like we have 2 questions here on the chat. So we can go ahead and read it. So one is, what is the new onboarding process for new customers?
Sure. Well, if anyone's interested, obviously we'll have contact information. Go to myuplyft.com. But we do it's not for everyone. So I wish it could be for everyone who wants it. The first thing we always ask in an onboarding is, what is the intended use of the device? As I just showed you, that's for an assisted transfer use. That's for people that want portability room to room. I will say that there are some, and maybe more than some, that really like this portable configuration because it could be transferring from not just bed to a wheelchair, but bed to a couch, bed to a recliner, even a bed to a toilet. And so we first, it's really a consultative call for 10 minutes to determine what the intended use is. We also go over really just 3 to 4 um, clinical or medical questions about the individual. For example, do you have hand dexterity if your desire is to use it for independent use? Do you have the ability to at least get your arms to this height level right here if you're going to use it for independent transfer? Again, both those things I just said are really not necessary if it's going to be used for assisted transfer. And then lastly, again, if the intended plan is for the individual to use it for independent transfer, we do want to make sure that the individual has full cognitive acuity and no diagnosed, cognitive decline of any sorts. But honestly, other than that, now that we have more inventory coming online, there's a modest deposit that is made, and the individual is able to select from an array of purchasing or leasing options in order for the device to be shipped in their home. And with all of our customers, we give a 30-day money back guarantee because we never want to force it. And if it's not working for whatever reason, we want to give the ability for the individual to not be obligated. But with our dealer network around the country that's expanding, depending upon the city where you live, there may be an opportunity for you to try it out in the city that you live in. So that's how the onboarding generally works.
Greg, can you you kind of reference a little bit of pricing? Can you talk about the pricing if someone wanted to buy it outright versus lease it, just in ballpark ranges?
Sure. So, we love the leasing because this obviously is not an inexpensive piece of technology. It took, well over 7 figures for us to get to market. But just to answer your question directly, an individual can have the use of an UpLyft for as low as $250 a month via a 5-year leasing plan. We also have 3-year leasing plans, which is a little bit more. At the purchasing side of things, this configuration behind me right now is $12,750. That is the MSRP. And then the independent transfer configuration, which is more expensive, it's a higher cost for us to deliver, obviously better benefit. That is $19,750. And I believe we do have leasing options for that version under $500 a month. And so, for the opportunity to be able to independently transfer out of bed when you otherwise couldn't, and it's for under $500, or in this case, for really just what amounts to be almost close to a cell phone bill, we really like being able to do that. We are working on this year, hopefully trying to be able to be under Medicaid waiver programs for those who may fit in that demographic. But right now it is a cash pay purchase for now.
All right, so we have another question here in the chat. We have a person asking, can you please share any upcoming features or updates that users can look forward to that are coming up?
I'm sorry, the question was with like features or
Yeah, are there
functionality?
any features or
Yeah,
functionality that's coming up?
yeah, sure. So let me first touch on a couple of things that you didn't see in that demonstration. So I mentioned the headrest that's available in current versions of the unit for those that need it. There is also a corded controller that goes right here, which we didn't use, but for independent transfer, the individual is able to use that in the palm of their hand for transferring. 2 features that we're incredibly excited to incorporate. I'm hopeful it could be in production at the end of the year. more likely would be in the first half of next year. And this was from our market research, the most widely desired feature to incorporate. It's twofold. It's voice activation and alarm monitoring. From a voice activation standpoint, that really just more has to do with software incorporation. Obviously, there's a lot of technology available on the market with Alexas and IoT technology. This was more of just a strategic decision for us to make sure the product on the market that we wanted to enter with was of the utmost quality, and we've definitely checked that box. That doesn't mean, by the way, that there isn't the need for servicing on an annual basis. We require that. Every device has a 1-year warranty, but you want us to come out to make sure the device doesn't have any maintenance needs. This is something, look, there's human beings sitting in this. And so I believe, Yasmin, I said this to you when we met, I don't know, was that 6-9 months ago? And I'm proud to say it's still the case that we've never had an adverse event in our company's history. And we define adverse events as we've never dropped someone. We've never had someone left suspended in air. There's sensors and functionality and battery power. That's how the device is powered that prevent being suspended in air. And we've never even had a reportable abrasion of the skin, even with the finger panels wrapping around someone. And so, knock on wood, that continues as long as possible. But that was really our focus to date, has been having the highest quality product. And so, as we add those features for alarm monitoring, if that's necessary, and voice activation, we do have, for example, in our patents, the ability to incorporate machine learning. You can imagine if somebody is transferred 100 times in the device at their home, that the device can learn with software as to how that person enjoys to be transferred and creates more of an automated process. I say that understanding full well there is not a single robot in the world that is cleared by any regulatory agency to transfer a human being. And so we have a mechanically engineered masterpiece with some electronics. And so give us the opportunity to get more out in the market. We'll add things like software, voice activation, and hopefully to the road of machine learning and incorporated in it.
So Craig, can you talk about how many customers are using it and what kind of feedback are you getting from both the customers and their caregivers?
Sure. So, what I'll say is this, Jasmine, because I can't obviously get into revenue numbers, but when we had our first production run, we wanted to really look at the sample size of the first 20 individuals that were using the device. Every one of those customers we have a testimonial from. I wish I could recall them by memory, but they are simply of the effect of, I love my UpLyft. It gives me so much independence. And I'm not saying this, Hoyer is the hoist that we have here, but a lot of people refer to Hoyers from the standpoint of the cloth sling, and they'll say it's so much easier. I save so much time. And actually, we even have some customers who may be able to independently get out of bed with the independent transfer feature, but they still need some support to get back in bed. And they just say to us, I'm so appreciative because that's when my independence is most important. When I wake up in the morning and I want to be able to go to the bathroom or have a cup of coffee and not really need that caregiver over first thing in the morning. Whereas when they're going to bed, having a caregiver or a loved one present may be more common. One of my favorite testimonial quotes is of our customer, Anna, out here in Southern California. She has cerebral palsy. And most of our customers, all of them, allow us to share, have video and pictures. They give us consent. And there's a really cute picture of her sitting in UpLyft. And her testimony was, I love my UpLyft so much. I just want to sit in it all day. And so that just warms my heart. And that's really what we try to embody, not just with the device itself, because our branding and our name of UpLyft, obviously there's double, triple entendre to it. We're not just lifting you up out of bed or uplifting you physically, but we want to be doing this in a way that's really uplifting you mentally and spiritually as well.
What about some feedback from a senior living facility where they might be using it with multiple people?
Oh my gosh. So we have a senior living facility in New Jersey. It's probably um our most used uplift. And it's this interesting conundrum. So it's our most used uplift. It has had the most maintenance needs, as you would expect for a new product coming out to the market. I'm happy to say that, when you have a technology like this that's in the home, and again, I know a lot of the point of talking here today is not just senior living, but in homes. And so one of the key things with any device of that nature is you want to be able to service it in the field, that it doesn't have to come back here to the manufacturing facility. And so with those servicing needs that have arisen, what we have worked to do as a company is have timely response. And that's with our dealer network that's in the field. And so what happens is when there is a servicing need, we have to say, and this is again for liability and just to make sure there's not disruption when somebody purchases an uplift, hey, please try to keep your existing lifting technologies available so that if there is a need to go back to what you were using before, you have that readily available. Now, some customers didn't have anything. They were physically lifting their loved one and they have to go back to that. But what it does is it creates this temporal period of time where they're not per se upset with us because we're obviously doing what we can to implement the maintenance and servicing need that is necessary. But it just magnifies their deep love for Uplift because of how much easier it makes their day to day. And so the one caregiver there at that facility who is using it the most, we've had the most interaction with her. And so she does have to go back to a body board and a cloth sling. I think there's been 2 or 3 instances where we needed to ship a part out and our service provider needed to come in to implement it. And so that's a good thing, I think, because again, it just demonstrates that, hey, they really want to be able to use it as much as they can. So.
Well, Craig, I really do appreciate your honesty and, dedication to how you're trying to change this industry. You can tell with the examples that you shared, you're far from a used car salesman. You are an honest person who has come up with an amazing product, and we really appreciate you having taken the time to share it with everyone.
No problem. All I can say, because I know your community at Village Court's not just seniors and home health and senior living. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and I know there's some investors as well. And I always lean toward my allegiance with my peer entrepreneurs. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, and it takes a certain amount of courage, and you got to hear no a lot. One of the best lines I've ever heard is I have dyslexia to the word no. That means on to me. And so the thick skin, the bad days, the good days. I share a story all the time. If I closed $1 million in financing one day, and then the next day this is with a previous company, and then you have a software engineer that's trying to extort the company. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart. There's never a dull moment, but we can't change the world in the positive ways we all want to without trying. And so that's what I'm happy to be doing for us and our shareholders and our customers, most importantly. So,
thank you. Shah, do we have any other questions?
No, looks like we got all the questions in the chat. Everyone's saying thank you. Thank you, Greg, so much. We're so privileged to have you here today joining us. And then we want to thank everyone for connecting, sharing, and learning today who came and joined the event. And you'll be able to find a recording of this session on our website at villagecore.org under our events page. And then please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Village Core channel for all our past and future events. We thank you everyone
Chuck,
for being here.
and in the post that you have of this, we will put the link to the independent transfer. It's on our website. But since we didn't get that today, we'll make sure we put that in there as well, so you can see it's
Yes.
just as quick as what we showed today.
Yeah, we can add that to our events page where we post this video as well.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you. Bye.